catching them all in card form. When I first conceived of this challenge back around January, I had no idea how feasible it was, how long it would take me, how much money it would cost, if I would have the effort and endurance to make all these videos, but now I am proud to report we are halfway there. That's right. Half the Pokédex has been completed. There's only 43 episodes left. Ha ha, just kidding. The back half of this is going to be much, much harder than the first half. It's going to take way longer, probably take a lot more money too, but we'll see. I gotta say, my motivation to complete this has never been higher. We're halfway there. No longer living on a prayer. Yeah, just kidding. That's enough song parodies for now. By the way, in the last video I made, I manually created this sort of effect in my video editor of the Pokemon just kind of popping up randomly, and it took a long-ass time, and then right around when I finished, I was like, hey, wait a minute. Can't I just program something to do this and it would be like way easier? And it was, but you can see here it's starting to really lag and struggle, but still, I'm pretty happy with this effect. I'm probably going to use it a lot more. But yeah, celebrating the halfway mark, let's go through our collection again. We saw it at the 1/3 completion mark, but it really does feel like a lot more complete. And as I said, I am so gung-ho to finish this project. So please keep watching, please keep supporting. It's so much fun. See you then. Hello. Within these 4 binders contain over half of all Pokemon. That's right, we've reached the halfway point. And as part of what hopefully are many commemorative efforts, I thought we'd look through the collection so far. Take a look at what we've got, look at what's left to come. It feels like it hasn't been so long since we made our 1/3 of the way video, but you know, that's just how fractions work. But it feels a lot different. Like, it feels like a lot of progress has been made. And I gotta say, my confidence that I'm actually gonna be able to do this is pretty high right now. I don't know. We're definitely gonna hit some walls. We're gonna talk about potential walls. But I hope you'll agree with me that it feels like we are getting it together, that the collection is well on its way to completion. Starting off here with Gen 1. It's kind of disappointed that we haven't filled this out yet. Still haven't encountered Venusaur, Wartortle, or Blastoise. But we do have a bunch of packs of 151 remaining where they could show up. But otherwise, they've got a ton of printings. I think it's just a matter of time. In the early route Pokemons, we're getting close to, just missing Kakuna and Pidgeot. Pidgeot, I think, probably only has rare printings, which will make it trickier. Kakuna, I think, is just a matter of time. This page is very, very close as well, just missing Fearow. So within a few packs of 151, we could be finishing off a whole bunch of other pages. This page, not doing so hot. The Nidoran families are surprisingly hard to come by. I wouldn't say that they're like super rare or elite feeling Pokemon, but I guess probably King and Queen are always printed as rares, so that might be tough. Missing Clefable as well. Over here we're missing Wigglytuff. We're also missing both of Vulpix and Ninetales. That's quite surprising too. They actually have a lot of cards, Vulpix and Ninetales. And we're missing Zubat. You know, in the games, you can never miss Zubat, not if you wanted to. Missing Vileplume 2, one of my favorite Pokemon, just amazing design. But here it is, our first complete page. Isn't that beautiful? Let's just soak it in. Oh my gosh, it looks so good. I just love the variety of art styles and card frames and eras. And, you know, we got, like, what is this? I thought it was, like, clay at first, but it's just kind of painted to look, you know, like kind of a physical object almost. And then the classic furry Diglett CGI. Very experimental, kind of expressive art here, kind of classic cartoons there. And all of them together, all of them Pokemon, you know? It's the beauty of this card game, I think, is that there's such a rich variety in how the Pokemon are depicted, and the fun of this collection for me is just seeing the juxtaposition of all those styles. And here we have an almost complete page. All we're missing is Golduck. Shouldn't be too hard. Could show up in any one of our 151 packs. But I love it. We don't have normal Growlithe yet either. I do want to put just the base forms where possible and put the regional forms and stuff in the back. We got the full Abra line here, all in Japanese. Looking for Machamp, looking for the rest of the Bellsprout line, looking for Tentacruel. This page coming along pretty well too. Just need Graveler and Rapidash. And another one-awayer here. This is Shelder. We need Shelder here and Cloyster up here. We're also missing Haunter. But yeah, this is also totally doable. I'm sure Shelder is a common in 151, so I think the odds are pretty decent that it'll show up in one of our remaining packs. We'll see. We need Drowsy to go with Hypno, Kingler. A lot of these two-stage evolution lines where we've got one of them, you know, as you would expect, being halfway through. We need Cubone, actually, which is interesting. We've gotten quite a few cool Marowak cards, but no Cubones. And Hitmonlee as well. Over here we need Wheezing and what comes after Tangela? Oh, Kangaskhan. Kangaskhan might be tough. I think Kangaskhan usually only gets rare printings. This page is quite close too. We just need Starmie. And I think Magmar goes here. Yep. And here we just need Flareon. We've got 2 out of 3 necessary evolutions and Eevee. Jolteon will go over here. But yeah, this page coming along very well. A lot of cool Pokemon. I really, really like this Diglett art. Very, very happy with that pull. And then this page, quite blank. And the reason why, as we've talked about before, fossil Pokemon in general are just going to be a little more rare. We're also missing Porygon on this page, which is kind of a unique Pokemon. May not get a ton of printings, I don't know. For some reason in the trading card game, they saddled Porygon with like attacks that changed weaknesses and resistances. And I think they've like never been good. So they just don't end up making a lot of Porygon cards, it feels like. And then, yeah, Kabuto and Kabutops and Omanyte and Aerodactyl will all go in here. And as we've discussed, they really don't like printing fossil Pokemon because of the need to also print the fossil trainer cards. They're beholden to that mechanical restriction. So this will be a tough section. Then we're also missing Zapdos out of the 3 legendary birds. But we've got the sick, I think these are called half arts for Articuno. I love it. Moltres, we got a Pogo rare. That was pretty sweet. And then definitely one of the coolest cards in the binder. The V-Star Mewtwo. Look at that. Oh, man. It's so textured. Holy moly. Getting into Gen 2. Still missing a lot of the starters. Nothing from the Chikorita line. Got Furret, though. Love Furret. The early game Mons are coming along, but still a lot of gaps. Gen 2 in general, it doesn't seem like it's been having the love in reprints the way I'd like it to. I'd love to get Togetic. We do have Togekiss later. Got the full Mareep line. Love that. Huge fan of Mareep. No Meryl card, which is funny. You know, I always think of Meryl as one of, like, the big Pokemon mascots, but I guess that's showing my boomer age. Got Politoed, though. Love Politoed. Lots of just little gaps here. And I don't think it's because these Pokemon are particularly rare or hard to get. I just think we haven't kind of had the exposure to Gen 2 Pokemon the way we have other generations. This is where Espeon and Umbreon go. 2 of the most in-demand Pokemon. Almost every card they get is worth some amount of money. So that might be tricky too. That one, we're going to have to get lucky. I love this giraffe rig. Just having a snack. But yeah, a lot of these kind of just quirky Gen 2 Pokemon. One funny one, we do not have Unknown. Even though Unknown has so many different cards for it, you know, because each letter of Unknown has gotten a card. We haven't got any of them. I don't think we've ever had contact with a set that has any of them. So that might actually be surprisingly hard, because I don't think they do Unknown cards very often. It's not like they'll just kind of sprinkle them in. It has to be kind of a theme of the set. So despite there being so many Unknown cards, that might actually be tough. Some other guys here. We got a lot of good ones. I just love Gen 2. There's so many fun Gen 2 guys. This page is almost totally empty. We just have Pillow Swine. But this should have like Corosla, Slugma, Macargo, Remoraid, Noctillery, Delibird are all contenders for this page. This page is going pretty good though. A lot more progress than most. We got Porygon 2, even though we don't have Porygon 1. We got Smeargle, the art dog. Very good. Smoochum, one of our babies. Babies, just like fossil Pokemon, have some rules baggage. That means that they do not get printed very often. There's also like a long history of just totally broken baby cards that continues today with the super broken Budew. We have that one too. So any baby we get is a big accomplishment. So far we just have 2. Miltank, Blissey, great Pokemon. And then of the legendaries, we just have Suicune. No Lugia, Ho-Oh, Celebi, nothing like that. But Larvitar and Pupitar is cool. Would love to get T-Tar. And then here are the alt forms of Gen 1 and 2 Pokemon that we've collected so far. And yeah, let's go to the next binder. All right, looking at Gen 3 now. A lot of progress on the starters, thanks to my friends' homemade boosters. We got a bunch of these recently. For a while, Torchic was super, super lonely. Super cute, but super lonely. And in general, Gen 3 is coming along really well, as you'll see. The early game ones, we're still missing a few kind of conspicuous ones. Namely, the bugs should go here. The divergent bug line from Wormpole. I think this is like Wormpole goes around here. I don't know. I can't work it out specifically. And then here we're missing Lotad. We've got Ludicolo and Lombre, but no Lotad. That's disappointing. And over here we want the biggest bird. The smallest dude, but the biggest bird. Or no. Actually, this is just a 2-stager. We need Wingull here. Wingull. Wingull and then Pelipper on the next page. But yeah, this one's coming close. Here we've only got one from the Gardevoir line. I think that'll be another kind of tough one to get. Gardevoir, also a very in-demand Pokemon. Very cute. Skirskit art. Shroomish, Slackoth. Got the whole Slackoth line now. Got the Slacking recently, I think, from one of the homemade packs. Same with Shedinja. Very, very cool pickup. Interesting to see how they represent the kind of mechanics of Shedinja on cards. They give it no weakness, but in the game, very famously, it has to have weaknesses. If it had no weakness in the game, it would be the most powerful Pokemon ever because of Wonder Guard. Here it has no Wonder Guard, but it has no weakness. Interesting. Only Whismur, none of the evolutions there. This page is only missing 3. That being... Oh, Azurill goes here. That's another baby. That'll be tough. Nosepass goes here. And Sableye goes here. So a very odd mixture of Pokemon. They all might be tough to get. But we do have the full Aeron line. Those guys are cool. Big gaps here. What's going on in here? Mainatrick and Elatrick. And then also Plusle and Minun go here. I really like Plusle and Minun. Hopefully we'll get those before too long. This page, also big gaps where Gulpin and Swalot go. This one's a little closer. Only missing 3. Torkoal, another kind of just randomon. Grumpig, the evolution of Spoink. And, oh yeah, this guy has an evolution too. Cacturn, the spooky cactus. If you've seen the beta sprite leaks or the concept art leaks, even spookier. And here we're just missing 1. Another very exciting page. I love a lot of Pokemon on this page. Wish Cash, I love this art so much. It's so vibrant. And the Pokemon we want to get is Corphish, which, I don't know. You wouldn't think Corphish would be that hard to get. But so far, no good. We got a Fossilmon there. Good progress. The very elusive Feebas and Milotic accounted for. All right, missing. This is maybe our most absent Pokemon, as in I got this page to 1 away first, but we still haven't gotten it. It's Kecleon. And maybe it's just invisible. Are you there? Hee hee. Nah, we need to pull Kecleon. I love this Chimecho. Tropius, of course. We've got like 20 copies of Tropius for some reason. Great Pokemon, though. Here we've got a cross made of ice types. Or I guess Huntail is an ice type, but, you know, close enough. Very good. Making some progress. And then this page 2 coming along well. We've got, of the 2 pseudo-legendary lines, we're just missing the big dogs for each of them. And then after that, we get into the Reggies. We don't have any Reggies yet. But we do have Regigigas, which is funny. And we have Rayquaza and Groudon, but no Kyogre. And then after that, there's some like mythics and stuff. That's always going to be tough. And there's actually, in fact, an entirely blank page here that has like Deoxys and Jirachi, but then also has the start of Gen 4 starters. And we don't have a single Gen 4 starter, which is crazy to me. I thought they loved printing starters. Why can't I get those starters? And then from a blank page, we also have an almost complete page, which is funny back to back. We're just missing Staraptor here. And Cricketune. Deedle, 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 whoop, as they say. So I looked into like what sets you can get some of these from, and both of them seem kind of a far shot. I'd have to buy very expensive packs just to hunt like commons, or this might be a rare, I don't know. So it's like stuff like that I think will eventually become our roadblocks, just where it hasn't had a new printing in a long time. And we can either hope that it's in the homemade packs, hope that it shows up in bulk, or hope that the Pokemon Company reprints it. Because I don't play the lottery, so I think hoping to win the lottery is a stretch. And otherwise, I don't know how I'm going to justify buying like $50 old booster packs to myself just to try to pull Cricketune. So let's hope for reprints and for accessibility of new Pokemon cards to go up. Here we've got the aforementioned Menace Badu with its itchy pollen. Such cute art. In Japanese, it's Muzu Muzu Kafun, which does, I think, is like an onomatopoeia for like scratching your skin. And yeah, straight up, you can't play item cards from your hand. What are you going to do about it? But a lot of gaps in Gen 4. Gen 4 has not been coming along anywhere near as smoothly as Gen 3. And I think it's all just kind of the timing of when they do like remake games and stuff. Obviously they bring a lot of cards back, but there's also just kind of the whims of the creator in terms of what Pokemon get cards and which sets, and maybe they're just not a bit as big a fan of Gen 4. Like, look at this page, only Bronzor Bronzog. What else is supposed to be here? So Chingling, I know, is particularly rare, even among babies, so that's going to be tough. Then Stucky and Stunk Tank, which I don't think will be too hard. And then triple babies. Bonsley, Mime Jr., and Happini. And those are all going to be tricky, tricky, tricky. Over here, we've only got Gibble of Gibble, Gabite, Garchomp. Those are some of my favorite pseudo-legendary Pokemon, so I'd like to get more. There's our Lucario V that we got from the theme deck. Pretty cool. Our Hippo down, which I realized later is like Pokeball rare. And I don't really understand. The reverse hollows have just normal reverse hollow, and then one where you can see a Pokeball that's rarer, and then another one where you can see a Master Ball, which is like truly rare and might actually be worth something. And this one is Pokeball, and I think that's the only one I've gotten, but I only learned about this recently. So there may be more that I haven't noticed. But yeah, a lot of blank spots in Gen 4, a lot of almost empty pages. Here I think are a lot of the like delayed evolution Pokemon. Like Gen 4 added a whole bunch of evolutions to old Pokemon. So in here we've got like Weevil, Lickalilly, Rhyperior, Tangrowth, Electrovive, Magmortar, Togekiss, and Yanmega we've got, as well as Magnezone, but like a lot of these I'm sure only get very rare printings because it's like an evolution to a fully evolved Pokemon, basically, that probably already only got rare printings. So doubly hard, if anything. There's so many of them too. Like after this, there's still some that we've got, like Dusknoir, Frostlass, but it's gonna be tough. We got 2 out of the 3 Lake Trio. I love the Lake Trio, as also my favorite. It looks so cool. Palkia, but no Dialga. Heatran. Regigigas are only Regi. Manaphy, love Manaphy, no Fion. And then our V-Star Shaman, a birthday present. Thanks again. Looks so sick nasty. The rainbow effect is so cool. All right, let's go to the Gen 5 binder. Gen 5, I complained last time that this smug little dude throws off the whole thing, and instead of our nice page of starters, we get random intrusive mythic and then 8 out of 9 starters. And as I fill in the rest of this page, it only looks more and more incorrect, and I feel badder and badder for Samurott, who's going to be left on his lonesome on the next page. I just realized this Snivy has like stars. What's going on there? That's awesome. But it is what it is. Gen 5, just like Gen 4, I think it's just sort of in a low point where the nostalgia wave isn't quite there to justify a whole bunch of new versions of these cards. And it's still not new enough that like the generations after this are just kind of more reasonably going to show up in bulk and stuff. So Gen 4 and Gen 5 are definitely like our lowest collection rates by percentage. But this page is looking okay. We're slowly getting there, just kind of missing some evolution spots. What's this thing called? The evolution of Swoobat? Oh, Woobat evolves into Swoobat. It is Swoobat. I really like how Swoobat looks. I just really like that design. But yeah, lots of Pokemon here too. Like the other thing is that just Gen 5 has a ton of Pokemon. But there is a set coming out this summer in Japan, so probably early fall in North America, that's going to be like the 151 of Gen 5. It's going to have a version of every single Gen 5 Pokemon. So hopefully I can get my hands on some of it, and I don't have to fist fight somebody in the Costco parking lot to do so. But if I can get some packs of that, that'll really accelerate this zone of the collection, because there's just so much missing. There's so many Pokemon in this generation, and we have relatively few. We do have a Fossilmon, very, very good, Archen, which is, you know, a start. We have Zorua and Zoroark, very cool Pokemon. But a lot of ground to cover here, that's for sure. Ducklet, adorable, clay art. Again, just like look at the contrast. Got this lovely little clay model depiction of Ducklet, and then it evolves into this very kind of like wistful, watercolory, almost like Sumi A, sorry, Sumi A type depiction of its evolution. That's great. That's Pokemon cards in a nutshell right there. And we got 2 out of the 3 Vanillite line. Deerling. I think they make versions of Deerling and Saucebuck for all of the seasons. It would be neat to get all of those. Yeah, lots and lots of gaps here. One of our 2 illustration rares, Joltik. An adorable Pokemon. If we can focus on it. It's having a hard time through the sleeve focusing. But really adorable. Happy to get an illustration rare at least. We have the full Clink line down here. Almost the full Tinamo line. Same with Litwick. Again, just like all these 3-stage lines. It's going to be a whole different ballgame trying to get the 3rd forms of them, you know? Because that's where it becomes only rare printings, typically. But yeah. This page is actually looking pretty decent, too. Only missing 3 Pokemon. Let's see. Ooh, Drudagon. I like Drudagon. Drudagon is crazy. I like that it was relevant in TCG Pocket. And then here we're missing B-Sharp. And here we are missing Braviary. So again, might be tough. Might be like all rare Pokemon. That is, all printings are rare. So it's like we get close, but close don't always cut it. This page 2, only missing 3. Here we've actually got Hydreigon, one of our EXs. We're just missing the middle stage, which can be tricky as well. And then Durant goes here, and Mandibuzz goes here. On the legendary zone, we have been making progress here, especially with the homemade packs. So hopefully we can make a little more ground, but it's going to be a while before we finish the legendaries of any generation. Those have been consistently hard to find. Getting into Gen 6, we've got just one starter, bravely tackling an entire lone page by himself. It's Chestnut, one of the more controversial designs in Melee and Pokemon. I remember when this got leaked, nobody believed it. The fact that he's kind of like a mech. Like, look at this guy. He's just a little dude. He looks like he's been bundled up for the cold by his mother to go to school. And then this looks like his older brother that's way too into Gundam. And maybe it does make sense. The early game Pokemon coming along pretty well. Got the entire Fletchling line, which is fun. Really like Talonflame. And then, yeah, Gen 6 starts to pick up a little bit. Like I said, the closer we get to Modern, the more cards are in circulation for cheap bulk. So we can expect to cover a little more ground there. Here we're only missing 2, those being the evolution of Esper, which is Meowstic, and Spritzy, which should be just like a common fairy. So this one feels doable. This page, I think we're going to get close. Aegislash there looking awesome. Again, a completely busted Pokemon in the actual games. What's interesting is the fairy type, seen here as a psychic type, just like the poison type, has been through a lot of iterations as to which type it gets represented as in the card game. I want to see more like actual fairy type fairy cards. I don't know if we have any. I'm going to keep an eye out, but I don't know if we have any. I think they look neat. Like the really shiny pink design is cool. And I understand kind of, it was like a novelty to have fairy type and then they took it away. Mechanical baggage, blah, 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 blah. But I liked them. This page almost totally empty as well. And I understand why, because on here we've got 2 Fossilmons, 2 Fossilmons, and Sylveon in Evolution. The Evolutions have also proven very hard to find. Nobody's putting those things in bulk. Somebody wants to pay money for it. We got Hawlucha, though. That's who people should be paying money for. That's the people's champ right there. That dude should be in Melee. Got Clay Dedenne in Reverse Hollow. Very cool. I want the rest of the Gumi line. I love Gumi. And here we see the Dragon type, which is another kind of rare type. That's here it's weak to Fairy type, but it also takes Fairy energy. We're like circling around the Fairy type, but we don't we don't have an example of it yet. The Boo Boo Keys. Another menace if you've played competitive Pokemon singles. Clay Pumpkaboo. And one legendary here, we've got Yveltal. I still think it's really weird that we go from Pumpkin and in the space of one page, Bringer of the Apocalypse. Usually the dex kind of like ramps up a bit, you know what I'm saying? But then we're already through Gen 6. We got Volcanion, the end of Gen 6, and Rowlet, the start of Gen 7. I think that's the only such bridge we have. We got Rowlet and Decidueye, but no other Gen 7 starters. We do have perhaps the coolest Gen 7 Pokemon, though, Toucannon. You might say, is Toucannon that cool? Isn't it literally just a toucan? But I ask you, is there anything cooler than literally just a toucan? Has any human being been able to come up with any fictional creature cooler than the real-life toucan? I contend no. And I contend that it is peak Pokemon design to just take an awesome real animal and be like, what more do you need? We got Yungoos too. That evolves into Gumshoes. I think Gumshoes is a very fun Pokemon. I get why people say he looks like Trump, but he's definitely meant to look like, you know, a hard-boiled detective or whatever. And I think it just kind of raises questions of, is Trump trying to somehow look like a hard-boiled detective? This page is one away from completion, and it's got a fairy type. I kind of thought we had at least one. It's not a very exciting one, but we do have at least one. And on this page, we are just missing Crabrawler. We pulled Crabominable in one of our Stellar Crown packs where we were looking for these two, but we haven't found Crabrawler yet. This page also coming along pretty well. We're missing Mariani and Toxapex. We're also missing Mudspray, but I don't think any of those will be particularly hard. This page feels very doable. Big gaps here. But getting there. Not as bad as Gen 4 and Gen 5, I think. Love these dudes. Sandygast and Palossand. Big empty page here. We've got a whole bunch of Drampas. And then super empty page. Poor Cosmog down here crying because it is all alone. It should be joined by the Tapus go here, and then Soliago, or Cosmem goes here. Soliago and stuff are on the next page. But yeah, the Tapus I think are hard. I don't think they've been printed very often. And Jagmo and Hakamo and Komo, which are really cool Pokemon. I'd like to get them, but I don't think they have too many printings. And then we have a totally empty page here. This is probably the emptiest 2-page spread in the entire binder. Brutal. And the reason for it is, we've talked about babies are a problem. Yup, they sure are. We talked about how fossil Pokemon are a problem. Yup, they sure are. But perhaps the most problematic group to collect, and they're all concentrated together, which makes it extra frustrating because these big blank pages just staring at me, are the Ultra Beasts. This whole section is pretty much entirely Ultra Beasts, and they shot themselves in the foot, and they completely tied the Ultra Beasts with like an additional prize-taking mechanic that they don't want to mess with because I think it was a little wonky. And so they're like, okay, when are they ever going to print Ultra Beasts again? They haven't printed them since like Gen 7 was new. And how am I going to afford that? So this is going to be probably one of the last sections to get filled in the entire challenge. It's just going to be like a wasteland until then. But we do have Zeraora, Meltan, and Melmetal to finish off the decks. And Stunfisk, the Galarian form. So this is the alt form section, but it's by its lonesome right now. Don't step in it. It's just a little bear trap. That's not an item. Okay, let's move on to the final binder. All right, in Gen 8, we're actually doing pretty good. We have the 3 starter Mons, none of the final stages, but we do have Thwackey. I think we've pulled like 3 Thwackeys actually. So hopefully we can get the rest. And then Gen 8 already looking pretty good, you know? A lot of these early Pokemon coming together. Just need a few more like final evolutions. And Squovent and Greedent. We don't have either of those yet. Those cute little guys. Corviknight goes here. I love Corviknight. And Orbeetle. They had some really cool designs in this generation. And then some other designs that I'm just kind of like, all right, man. You do you. You are a Chew Turtle, that's for sure. Oh, but who could hate Wooloo? Wooloo is joy. Pure joy. Here, the 2 we're missing are Yamper and Boltund. I don't think those should be too hard. Just little doggies. And then here, we managed to get the full Applin line, the Divergent Evolution, the Birdie, the Snakes. And here is the Roly-Coly line, the Coal Pokemon. We haven't pulled any of those, I guess because it's the era of Solar and Nuclear now, and Coal is by the wayside. This page coming along not too bad either. We need the big fighting octopus here. That'd be fun. Yeah, a lot of pages coming along like that have substantial chunks at least that are like over halfway done. And when I'm looking at this section, I'm like, yeah, I get it. I'm actually getting close. I think I mentioned this last time, but there's only 2 printings of Runerigus. So that was really lucky that I managed to pull one from one of the Trick or Treat packs. But you know, we're going to have to deal with these Pokemon with very few printings eventually. We got like 1 out of the way, but there's a lot more where that came from. More Pokemon here. More Peko, the hungry Pokemon. You gotta love it. Here we've got just Duraludon, but later we've got Archaludon. I guess I thought this thing evolved from something, but I guess it doesn't, huh? I thought it was like a 2-stager, and then we got Archaludon, but it was a by itself or whatever. And then before this, there's actually fossil Pokemon in here, so that's going to be tough. The strange abominations of like the mixed up fossils. Dragozalt, Arcozalt, Dragovish, Arctofish. Dragovish especially, another one that strikes fear into the hearts of actual Pokemon players. And Dragapult. I think Dragapult is so cool. I'd love to get that. And then the legendaries start. Zacian, etc., etc. Zarude, and then our first kind of run of DLC Pokemon. And the DLC Pokemon do not get very many printings, let me tell you. Glastier, Spectrier, and Calyrex, I think all only have like 1 or 2 each. So this is another section that's going to be really tough. Same with the Pokemon introduced in Legends Arceus. I don't think have very many printings at all. Like Ursaluna, Basculegion, Sneasler, Overquill. They did not get printed often. Thankfully, though, all of this was recent enough that, like, the sets that they're in, I can still buy packs for relatively cheaply. I'm not going to say cheap, but relatively cheaply. And it's conceivable that it could show up in bulk, but the odds are against us. And then getting into Gen 9 at last, we got some of the starters coming along not too bad. Again, all the base forms are here, which is great. We got Lechonk Everybody loves Lechonk. And Tademasu and Mousehold, some of the real favorites of Gen 9. We've managed to find... This page is surprisingly empty, given that on it are just like pretty normal-ish Pokemon, I would say. The Smoliv line, Squawkabilly, the Nactil line, you know, the Salt Pokemon. It's kind of surprising I haven't seen any of them, since, you know, Gen 9 is the most kind of actively printed generation right now. Same here, it's like... There is some progress, but I kind of assumed there'd be more. Just from kind of the random bulk and stuff, you'd think it would be a lot of Gen 9 right now. But progress is progress. We got this thing, which is one of the craziest Pokemon ever. Espartha. I really don't know the Gen 9 Pokemon too well, because I didn't play the Gen 9 games yet. So when I opened this thing, I don't know if I'd ever really like looked at this Pokemon before. And I was just like, what is it? But we got Wiglet, we want Wugtrio. I do love those guys. And nothing from the Tinkatink line. They should be in here. I really like those guys too. Speaking of broken Pokemon in the actual game, there's our guy Palafin. We got Cyclizar, Orthworm. Our other illustration rare of Satitan. Pretty cool dude. Annihilate, another cross-gen evolution. Getting those is always satisfying. Like I said, it's like, you know, Primeape was probably already printed as a rare a lot. So how could they print anything? Oh, just kidding. They did print other than a rare for Annihilate. It got an uncommon. But that works for us. Happy to get it. And then here we get into the Paradox Pokemon, where I've actually been doing pretty well. There's a ton of them. And I'm sure some of them will be pretty tricky to get, but I assumed all of them might be tough, and we're actually already making a lot of progress. I really like Slitherwing. Its design is so crazy. It's kind of like a kaiju just stomping around. I think this art really captures it very well. Any art that has this sort of like very kind of impressionist style of painting almost, where it's almost kind of at once very sketchy but very flowing. Some of my favorite Pokemon art. Some Futuremons over here. We got Slitherwing and Iron Moth. Past and future coming together. And then some pages here that are like shockingly close to completion. Here we're just missing two of the four great treasures, or whatever they're called. Specifically, we're missing Qianpao and Tinglu. So gonna try to come up with a plan to snag those. That page I think is doable. And then here we're just missing three, which are Miraidon, Walking Wake, and Iron Leaves. So again, getting into some DLC Pokemon. But this DLC, because it is kind of the most recent thing that's come out with new Pokemon in it, and will be until ZA comes out. I'm assuming ZA will have new Pokemon. I don't know. I'd be kind of surprised if it didn't, but they haven't confirmed that yet. So I've got a little while where this DLC is kind of the major focus, and it would be nice to get all of them, because we're getting pretty close. There's Archaludon, and this is close to the end. After this, we've got... that's 118, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Right here is where Pecharunt will go, if and when we get it. I mean, when we get it, we're going to be catching them all in card form. So let's see it. That'll be the end point until ZA. This is where ZA stuff is going to go. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed quite a long journey through the collection so far. I gotta say, I kind of started doing this challenge on a whim. You know, as I talked before, I just kind of had an urge to buy Pokemon cards that was not being totally satiated by playing TCG Pocket. In fact, I think was being exacerbated by TCG Pocket, being exacerbated by watching YouTube videos of people opening cards all the time. And I came up with this as a way to kind of buy cards in a way that had like a very specific goal. and didn't require me to spend a lot of money. And I thought it would be fun to make YouTube shorts and to try my hand at the short style of editing, you know. I watch a lot of shorts. I kind of just wanted to know what it was like to create them. But with all of that said, as like my motivators, it's actually been like maybe 30 to 40 to 50 times as much fun as I expected. And what I really didn't foresee was just how satisfying it would be to look through my cards. This is a little embarrassing to admit, but if I felt like stressed at work, a little overwhelmed, a little overloaded, and I just wanted to kind of relax and reset, I would just sit down and start flipping through my collection, remembering all the spots that I'd gotten them from, you know, looking at spots left, strategizing. How am I going to get those Gen 4 starters? It's been a great joy to me. I really, really recommend this challenge. It is so much fun. And it's pretty cost effective. You just gotta buy bulk. If you buy bulk, you'll get most of the way there. Oh, I didn't show off my little Rotom collection coming along. But yeah, I don't know if we'll do such a video for 2/3 of the way there. We'll see how much celebrating I feel like doing. So we may not kind of take a big look through the collection again until it is complete. Who knows when that will be? Things are obviously going to slow down. We're going to be nostalgic for the days where I could buy a random pack of bulk for like $5 and get like 20, 30 new cards. Soon we're going to be, you know, okay, I bought a $20 pack of a Sun and Moon era set, and we're looking for one specific Pokemon. All right, there goes $20. We didn't get it. So we'll see how I'm feeling about the whole thing when we start hitting those walls. But we're not there yet. For now, it is just pure joy. Yeah. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Catching them all in card form. You can do it too. I think deep down, I just have this insatiable urge to catch Pokemon. And I gotta catch them all. They told me that at a young age, and I believed them. I believed I had to catch them all, and now I am.